Hello and welcome to The Arise interview, 60 minutes of multifaceted discussion where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and we feature the voices at the heart of the stories. I'm Charles Anyagul. Coming up in the next hour, they're hoping to be the next great phenomenon in British, Nigerian, American pop music. And with their self-produced and self-written band of funky soul about police brutality, tinged with sentimental R&B and rap, the youthful family group known as Three Toast have clocked up more than 1 million hits on YouTube and social media. But can they move up from the fringes into the mainstream of the international hit-making machine that's currently dominated by Afrobeats? We'll speak to the Auche family about their group Three Toast and their dreams of global musical success. And later, if Three Toast really want to be stars, perhaps they should be talking to my other guest today, Vanessa Amadi Obunna, who is without a doubt one of the biggest British Nigerian star makers currently on the scene. She's shaped and executed publicity campaigns for the likes of Whitney Houston, Usher, Ciara, Estelle and Neo, and is currently representing some of Africa's biggest entertainers, including Davido, Tiwa Savage and Timmy Dakolo, not to mention Genevieve Naji. The PR and marketing Wonder Woman, Vanessa Amadi Obunna, in a moment. Now, my first guests today are known as Three Toast, a singing family originally from Nigeria, but all born and raised in the UK and the US. You may not have heard of them, but their musical career has spanned several years, well before they were even 10 years of age. They may not have enjoyed huge mainstream success yet, but they've notched up more than 1 million hits on YouTube and on social media, where a virtual Three Toast fan club is slowly springing up. Individually, they've performed as solo artists, with the eldest Ryan earning an elite badge of honor and the title Piano Prodigy even before the age of 9 for his exemplary piano playing. Well, now the boys hope to build on that as a group and to fit themselves firmly in the global spotlight, if school allows, of course. We'll talk about all that with the group in a moment. But first, here they are with one of their big internet songs criticizing police brutality in America.
Have you ever buried a child? I have.
That was mine. That belonged to me.
Every child is a precious gift to all of mankind.
Oh my God, have you heard the news? I think it's true, it was this afternoon. He got shot and now he's dead. At least that's what I heard and that's what they said. I don't know what in the world to believe, cause even to me it's still really crazy. I know none of it seems like it is, but they say that it happened exactly like this.
Please man, I'm not resisting. Didn't do anything, you gotta listen. I'm serious, we gotta work this out. How did this happen? What is this about? Put your head behind your head. If you do something stupid, I'll have to pull the trigger instead. Stop hurting me, I'm not even moving. What are you doing? This is so confusing. You have no reason to take me in, it's just no right. You're doing this is bad to me. Do you wanna fight? Shut your stupid mouth and get into the car. Otherwise you're gonna make me take this way too far. I did nothing to you, man, I swear. This is not okay, you do this so unfair. That's it, I've had it up to here with you. Now you're gonna have to see what I'll have to do.
Cry no more, mama, cry no more. And now you're thinking about him and what could have been. Now he's gone, it's just too much to bear. We shouldn't have to live this nightmare. Cry no more, mama, cry no more. And now you're thinking about him and what could have been. Now he's gone, it's just too much to bear. All our dreams for him now turn into nightmares. Yeah, yeah. Mama, you have to cry no more.
Well, that's the music of Three Toast there. A number of people tapping their feet in the studio. Well, joining me from our studios in London are Ryan, Dylan and Brian Ayuche, known collectively as the group Three Toast. Hello guys, good to see you there.
Hey Charles, it's great to be here.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, lovely to see you guys, Brian, Ryan and Dylan. And let me just ask you first of all, I mean, I know your names are in front of you, but just tell us, identify yourselves, you know, you're the members of Three Toast, you're members of the same family. So let's start with the youngest to the oldest. Give us your names in that order.
He wants you to give him
All right.
first.
Well, I'm Brian Ayuche.
Identify yourself.
I'm 13. I'm the third youngest brother in the Three Toast group.
Dylan.
My name is Dylan Ayuche. I'm the middle child in between the oldest and the youngest. I'm the lead singer and songwriter. I've been writing songs since, you know, before I could even remember. I enjoy writing songs a lot, especially because I can find, you know, a deep connection to the things people tell me and, you know, things going on in my life. So ever since then, I've just been writing songs and singing them, and, you know, I enjoy it really much.
And finally, I'm Ryan. I'm currently a college student. I'm the oldest of the three. I play the piano. I've played it for an incredible amount of years, about 14, I believe. And I also produce the music that they all sing to, so.
And Ryan, I'm going to talk to you about your piano playing later in the program, because I have to say that when I saw a video, I was absolutely blown away. I mean, you really are good at it. And I imagine that's something you started doing at a very young age. But let me come to you, Dylan. Just tell us how you would classify your music. I mean, is it pop? Is it hip hop? Is it rap? I mean, I come to you because you write a lot of the songs, don't you?
Yeah, I would say primarily the main genre of music that I like to write songs and sing to would primarily be, you know, kind of between pop and a little bit of R&B. And there's been a little rap that we've thrown into our songs, you know, here and there, but primarily based on the lyrics, because a lot of the lyrics, you know, a lot of the songs we've done over the years, some of them are like, you know, upbeat, you know, jolly, happy-go-lucky type of, you know, songs and, you know, tunes to listen to, but a lot of them also, you know, are rooted in a lot of deep and emotional and, you know, love and hate and, you know, conflict and stuff like that. So I think that's where the R&B comes in.
Yes, absolutely, because I mean that song we played was very, I think a lot of people, particularly people living in America, African Americans, Hispanics, that sort of thing would relate to that, which is probably, I imagine, why it's got quite a lot of hits on social media. But let me go to Ryan there and ask you, Ryan, what is it that influences your music style? Because I seem to notice quite a bit of sentimental ballads, fairly sort of romantic and wistful tales of sort of heartache with lyrics that are a touch saccharine, but also you come from a classical background. I mean, that's why you've been labeled as a sort of piano prodigy. So how does that combine to influence your music style?
Honestly, my music and my musical influence takes roots in many different styles. I mean, yes, of course, I've played classical piano almost my entire life, pretty much since I was about 4 years old, but now my musical tastes extend to pretty much almost everything that, you know, I enjoy, which is either hip hop, pop, some forms of R&B, and surprisingly, even a little bit of country, you know. And so I usually in my songs, I try to do as much justice to all the musical influences I have and just try to kind of like bring it in my productions, and that often creates some of the songs that that we've heard currently before.
Right. Well, at some point, as I said, we're going to play a bit of you on the piano, because I want people to see what an absolute genius you are on that instrument. But let me bring Brian in. Brian is the youngest of the lot. Actually, I was going to talk to you about your hair, Ryan, but let's leave that till a bit later, because I'm not quite sure what to make of it. but at the moment, let me bring your brother Brian in. I mean, Brian, what do you bring to the band? I know you polish a lot of the lyrics and you contribute in some ways to the production as well, don't you?
So what do you bring to the band?
I bring a lot of energy to it, you know. I am the backup singer, so I kind of help Dylan in the choruses on one of our previous songs called My Way. I sometimes help Dylan with the lyrics, and I bring that kind of different energy to the group.
Yeah, I have to apologize, Brian. I just noticed that you haven't got an earpiece, which rather puts you in a difficult position. So I've got to have, if I ask you a question, unfortunately that's the way it is. Ryan will have to feed you that question. But I mean, let's go back to Dylan, who I presume has an earpiece and can hear me. Is it fair to say, Dylan, that yes, your sound is more the soundtrack of Europe and America, and there isn't much African in it?
I'd say that's a pretty fair assessment, especially since, you know, I grew up in London, in Edgware here, just right around the corner. You know, from before I could even remember until I was around maybe 7 years old or so. And then after that, we moved to the States, and we've been all over. You know, I've been in New York, I've been in New Jersey, I've been in Tennessee for a little bit, Arkansas. I even live in Texas right now. So especially being, you know, really engrossed in that American culture and in so many different states in the country, I've definitely, you know, grown and adapted to those, you know, cultural customs, and, you know, I tailor my lyrics to those types of influences that I get from, you know, London and England and the US. So I'd say, even though that there are, you know, a decent amount of, you know, here and there, you know, African qualities in our songs, particularly with the beats, primarily, you know, I'd say that the lyrics and the songs that I write and sing are, you know, a good majority influenced by European and American culture.
And I suppose that makes it less representative of anything African, really. I mean, I'm just wondering how much you've come across things like Afro beats, which is an absolutely huge you know, music genre that's taking the world, particularly Europe, by storm. And I'm wondering if by not alluding to that type of music, your music is less likely to appeal to an African audience who have an appetite for something like that, because this television appearance is really your first exposure to African audiences, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's a fair statement. You know, a lot of the beats that, you know, like I said before.
I'll tell you what. I'm really sorry about this, Dylan. Let me ask you to stop for a minute, because we have to take a break. But I'll come straight back to you immediately after, as we continue our chat with the self-producing British-American Nigerian youthful group Three Toast and their dreams of global music success. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Charles Anyegolu. Now, on today's show, the British-American Nigerian pop group Three Toast. Three young fellows, all born in the UK, to Nigerian parents, educated in Britain and the United States. Their music is a combination of sometimes angry rap and pop lyrics about police brutality in America as they try to get to grips with what's fueling the hostility from security forces. But it's also the suburban blues of London and the UK, blended in with the wistful saccharine lyrics of contemporary middle-class driven British and American mainstream pop music with a touch of soul and rhythm and blues. Quite a hectic mix there, isn't it? Well, let's take a listen to one such less critical and more sentimental song from Three Toast.
I'm serious, we gotta. I know this would be hard for you, but all I'm asking is that you understand. Nothing's ever been easy, haven't really been under the best circumstance. Don't know why everything is so different, I guess I'm just struggling to adjust. But if you really stick with me, then you'll see what I've been trying to do for us. You're not the way that you used to be before. I can't really think about much more, but here's one thing I can say for sure. I know that I've had a lot of chances, and I also know that I've wasted even more.
I was enjoying that. Still with me from our studios in London, Ryan, Dylan and Brian Ayuche, collectively known as the group Three Toast. Thank you very much indeed, guys, for staying with us. And of course, Ryan, we were watching you there. As I mentioned, we're going to see you on that. That was actually the tip of the iceberg, because I think if we had more time, people would have seen you really belting it out. But absolutely brilliant stuff. Let me ask you, Ryan, how did Three Toast come into existence? I mean, whose idea was it to start a family group?
Well, within the conception of Three Toast, our dad actually had an idea of us, performing one song of a celebrity, and we all thought it'd be a fun idea, so we did it. And, through constant repetition, through time, we learned that we really enjoyed the process of playing and singing together and performing and whatnot and posting it on YouTube. So we just kept going and going until eventually we decided to start creating our own songs and start, having, start putting part of our lives in there. And so, and it all started with like a little GarageBand app on iPad. That's where I started producing. And as I got better over the years, it just kind of the sound of Three Toast and the quality of our songs just generally just increased. It got much better until the point that we're where we are now. And hopefully we plan on to keep getting better and to produce and collab with other people and just continue on this musical journey that we're on.
Right. Okay. Well, let me bring Dylan in. I'm just wondering, Dylan, how much has school work got in the way of you guys really focusing on your music and making it big? I mean, because let's face it, you aren't that well known yet, are you?
Yeah, that's a great question, because schoolwork definitely plays a huge role into, especially time, into the time that we have to do a lot of these things. Because, you know, for example, on a weekend, you know, all of us will finish a song and we'll be really pumped, you know, to go to the studio, record it, make the video, put it on YouTube. And then, you know, out of nowhere, my teacher's like, hey, you have that paper due, or hey, you have that project and that assignment due. So yeah, there's been, you know, it's been fun, to be honest, because I enjoy both school. I enjoy both going to school, studying, you know, hanging out with my friends, and I also enjoy, you know, doing the music. So even though it's been, you know, a little bit of a struggle to keep, you know, to keep a nice, healthy balance between both of them, honestly, I'd say it's been, you know, more of a fun, exciting adventure, you know, maintaining the two of them, rather than, you know, being an exhausting, you know, undertaking. I've enjoyed, you know, doing both and maintaining a balance in both.
Right, and let me bring your youngest brother, Brian, in. I'm hoping that somebody can communicate this to him, because I don't want him to be left out of the discussion. I mean, who would you say, Brian, is the rock of the family that holds the group together? Maybe that's not a very fair question.
Would you say you're the rock of the family who holds everything together?
I would say I'm kind of the glue to the family. I put everyone together, you know. I usually do the dance moves and the videos. I try to, you know, help write the lyrics with Dylan. Try to put my own kind of influence into the beats with Ryan. Get that African beat, you know, European, American. Try to get it all together, you know. Help my dad, you know, make the videos with him. You know, I would say I'm kind of the glue of the family.
And also, just to elaborate on that, one big, you know, overarching quality that Brian brings to the table is that he has, you know, he's very charismatic, he's very loose, bubbly, so he always brings that happy, you know, happy-go-lucky, jolly, good nature, you know, kind of mood and demeanor to the group, especially when, you know, either, for example, me or maybe Ryan or someone else, you know, isn't, you know, particularly feeling it, or, you know, we're a bit stiff, but, you know, through and through the entire time, Brian always maintains, you know, a good attitude, a happy spirit, and, you know, it really, you know, encourages and motivates us to keep pushing and, you know, just smile and enjoy what we're doing.
And since we've got you on air there, Dylan, I'm just wondering, I mean, did you guys, because I'm reminded of a little bit of the Jacksons when I watch you guys, when they were obviously quite young. But I mean, did you guys have to battle for the attention of your parents? I mean, was there competition for who sort of would occupy the position of the most talented? I mean, were you guys sort of, you know, ranged against one another sort of thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, sibling rivalry, especially in our family, is, you know, it's as strong as any other family. You know, even in all aspects of our life, you know, in school, we're always striving, oh, who has the best grades this semester, who has the highest test scores this time, who has the most A's, who has this, who has that. You know, even for, you know, when Brian and I, we both play football, so, you know, who's doing the best in football this time, who's doing the best in football that time. You know, Ryan, you know, we're always just competing. So that sibling rivalry is definitely there. I think, you know, I think all of us enjoy it, especially because, you know, it always pushes us to, you know, go through everything we're doing and keep striving to be better. Because, you know, if you're not really competing against anyone, you're not really going to have any motivation to improve and get better. So, you know, if any one of us are slacking, you know, if I think, oh, I'm doing good, I can just calm down, and, you know, I see either one of my amazing brothers right behind me, you know, I gotta, you know, I don't really have much of a choice but to, you know, be better than them. So that's how that sibling rivalry goes.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. We had a bit of a chuckle here when you said that. But let's talk to Ryan, because as I'm sure you know, Ryan, people do complain, child stars complain quite a lot in later life, looking back, that they missed their childhood. People like, you know, Michael Jackson. I'm not saying you are Michael Jackson, but of course people of that ilk, and his brothers who collectively were the Jackson 5. I mean, would you say that you've missed part of your childhood, having to rehearse all the time at quite a young age?
Honestly, I don't. You know, my parents, both my mom and my dad, they do such a great job of, you know, pushing us to be better, you know, keep innovating our craft and everything. But they also recognize, you know, there's also that, you know, dark side to striving for perfection, that you can often, you know, lose yourself, and, you know, you won't enjoy, like, you won't get out of life what you want. And so my parents, knowing that, you know, they always made sure that, you know, outside of the music we're doing, you know, we're always enjoying ourselves. We're always living our lives to the fullest. You know, Brian over here is in soccer. He enjoys that a lot. Me, I just naturally love, you know, music. And on top of that, I also plan on, you know, going into med school, you know, possibly in the future. And Dylan also, you know, plans on doing med school as well. But, you know, he also has a love for soccer as well. So, you know, having multiple things in life that, you know, gives you joy is what I believe, you know, sort of helped us to avoid, you know, the complaints that, you know, normal child prodigy stars have in regards to, you know, not having a life outside of what they do.
Well, I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure talking to all three of you, Ryan, Brian and Dylan, and I wish you all the very best of success. I mean, I hope that we will get to see more of you, certainly an African audience, which is one of the reasons we're interested in bringing you over to television that is watched across the whole of Africa, so that people get to know of your unique talents. But thank you very much indeed to three of you, Ryan, Dylan and Brian Ayuche, known collectively as the group Three Toast. And as they say, stay tuned. Hopefully you'll be hearing a lot more from them. Three Toast talking to us here on The Arise Interview. And you are watching The Arise Interview. Plenty more still ahead, including we speak to Vanessa Amadi Obunna, the Wonder Woman of global PR, who's responsible for executing brilliant international campaigns for some of the world's biggest African and African American entertainers. Stay with us.